Welcome back to This Is Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. With me in the studio, I still have Professor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Director General, Bulitac Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies. Yemi Adamolekun, Executive Director in Officing of EIE. And our major partner, we were in Oshogo together, yes, right? In the Oshogo gubernatorial debate. And then, of course, we have Professor David Awurawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos. Well, Professor Awurawo, let me start with you. You just listened to Senator Rabiu Kwankwanso, presidential candidate, standard bearer of the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, and he addressed quite a plethora of issues. What do you think? Do you think he was telling us the truth, particularly on the issues of restructuring, his identity, his failed deal with the Labour Party's candidate, Peter Obi, and what he intends to do about security, about the economy of Nigeria, about education, about health infrastructure, and what he thinks generally about the future of Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. I think Senator Kwankwaso addressed the issues very well. About 5, 6 key issues he talked about. He addressed them very, very well. Even though we know that there is a wide gap between talking and doing, between knowing and doing. We had a lot of talking in 2013, 2014, 2015, and we are where we have it. I will just comment on the issues as he discussed them, and I would like to start with security. He addressed the issue of security very well by talking about making provisions to accommodate everybody. In other words, talking about human security, that is, taking care of those things that push people to go into crime, and also dealing with the bad guys by, strengthening the security apparatus and all that. He spoke well on all of this, but I would like to speak specifically to the things that, happened in the past couple of days, the past week. The, attack on the correctional center in Abuja and other, security breaches across the country. Yes, I agree with Senator Kwankwaso that the issues must be addressed at 2 levels. Take care of the needs of people, human security, and then also make provisions to deal with the bad guys. It is very disheartening how easily these terrorists attacked the facility in the course of the week. Very, very disheartening. Disheartening because, one, it was as if there was no challenge. They just did it with too much ease. And secondly, considering the fact that there seemed to have been information that the attack would take place. Those that attacked the train on the 28th of March and kidnapped people and took them into the bush have been talking about releasing their colleagues who are in prison. And that if they are not released, they will take measures themselves to, secure their release. So there was information in the air as to the possibility of the correctional facility being attacked. And nobody did anything. And that is happening at too many levels in Nigeria, that Nigerians are simply not working. They are simply not working optimally. How can such an information be in the air and the security in the correctional facility be so lax? And you can replicate that in so many other sectors in Nigeria. Look at ASU. Agreement was signed since almost a month ago. It has not been concluded so that children can go.
Are you there? Professor Awurawo, okay. While we're waiting for Professor Awurawo to get back to us with his internet connection, Professor Akintenewa, let me come back to you.
Yeah, let me take the issue of security with which Professor Awurawo started with. For reasons of psychology of human differences, I do not share his view. I do not believe that Senator Kwankwaso had actually dealt well, quote and unquote, many of the issues he addressed. Some of them, yes, I do agree. But on the issue of security, I think we are all missing the point. First of all, Professor Awurawa was trying to explicate the situational reality of the attack on the Kuje Correctional Center. When you try to look closely to available data, I will agree that, yes, it cannot be rightly argued that the attack was not foreseen. It was expected. Information, data, reliable or not, has it that the day before the attack, the security guards were withdrawn. If that is true, the first question to ask is why? A second question is, why is it that for more than 2 hours there was delay in response? Why is it that no one could quickly come and respond to that? Thirdly, you see, what we normally consider as profound causal factor in terms of analysis, we are not looking at that. In the year 2021 alone, there were 9 jailbreaks in Nigeria. 9. 4 of them, or 5 of them, took place in April 2021. And in this case, you will see that when you take a chronological analysis there is nothing to suggest that government was ready to deal with this issue. So, April 4, April 5, 3 months after, no, please. Probably when we come to the main discussion of that particular jailbreak, I will be able to expatiate on that. But let me just note here that, please, jailbreak, attack on Kuje Correctional Center is not really the issue for now. What is responsible for that attack is what we should be addressing. But we shall come to that.
Okay, Yemi Adamalekun, the conversation with Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso.
Interesting. As the other professors have said, he answered the questions pretty confidently, and I like the fact that he didn't shy away. Obviously referenced a lot to what he did as governor. But I think for me, 3 things that I'll take away is that as we go into elections in 2023, Senator Kwankwaso also reminds us that our political parties are special purpose vehicles for elections. Senator Kwankwaso has been in PDP, he has been in APC, now he's championing NNPP, saying that APC is this, that, or the other, and PDP, whatever. So let's just be clear about that. As I keep saying, somebody is APC in the morning, PDP in the afternoon, and NNPP in the evening. So I think this is an election that we must be clear that we're focusing on candidates, not their political parties. Now, he made that point, and I tie that to his comment about Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, when he said that Tinubu is my brother, we've been in several meetings together, we were governor colleagues. However, that the party he's running on is a problem. For me, I mean, APC has performed woefully. President Buhari and his team have not done Nigeria well at all. However, if we're not looking at party, as I said, and we're looking at the candidates, Asiwaju will get votes for a variety of reasons. Yoruba people will vote for him. Those here who has been good to will vote for him. So I think that was an interesting point he was trying to make, but I think it's a point not very strong, given the fact that he's been in 3 different political parties, if not 4, if we count his 1992 run as well. Secondly, for restructuring, he danced around that very interestingly, because he obviously doesn't have a clear position on restructuring. He paralleled it to reforms, then talked about we would change policy, but didn't address what restructuring means to him. And if he was going to do it, as you asked him, this is how I would go about it. So Senator Kwankwaso, if you want to be president of Nigeria, get your team to give you a policy on restructuring, understand the issues, understand the why people are advocating for it, and decide if you are for it or not. And if you want to play safe, find nice things to say that shows that you have an understanding of what the issues are. Lastly, I think you asked him a killer question about his identity, referencing also, as you said, identity politics. And in all, as I missed a bit of his responses earlier in the interview, but the ones that I watched, I think that was the one that he seemed the most unsure. Senator Kwankwaso began to look down, didn't look up and address the camera as he had done in the questions before and after, and he didn't have a clear answer. Are you an Igbo man or not? It's a simple question. Well, technically, it's a simple question, but politically, for a Kano man running to be president of Nigeria and dissing a possible Igbo vice presidential candidate, or vice presidential partner, it's not an easy question. And I think you got him, because he was very rattled. And I think what is also very interesting for me is also two things that he said when he answered the question. Number one, he said he lost count of how many years he's been a Nigerian. And I thought, wow, your age would be a starting point if you wanted to use that number of times you'd be a Nigerian. And then secondly, I love the parallel he drew when he said, if you say I'm a Cameroonian, I'll say no. If you say I'm a Nigerian, I'll say no. If you say I'm Mauritanian, the other examples you had given him, I'll say no. But if you say I'm Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, I will say thank you. It was a very, for me, as far as I'm concerned, as of today, because I hadn't heard that rumor about him before. But as of today, thanks to Dr. Abati's question, as far as I am concerned, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso is of Igbo heritage. I said it. Anybody, come and carry me. Now, lastly,
You're in your house.
I'm in my house. Thank you. Well, yeah, I'm on my set. But then I say that just because of what I've just described. His answer to it was anything short of confidence. And if you're not, if someone says I'm an Igbo girl, I'll be like, no. I can tell you what village I'm from, but 4 generations. You can go there. The evidence is there. The village people will tell you they know the Adamolekun family. It's not a complicated matter. So for someone to be asked if he's Igbo and he's been anyway, I think I've made that point. So I'll leave my comments on him.
Okay, the residual point is that Chapter 3 of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution, is very clear about citizenship. You can be a citizen by birth.
Of course.
You can be a citizen by registration.
Yes.
You can be a citizen by naturalization.
Yes.
You can be a citizen if either of your 2 parents are Nigerians. So that should not be an issue.
It is not an issue, but because we're playing, sorry, Prof, but because, so just to answer this point, but because this issue of identity politics that we're playing, we've made it an issue. And you're very right. And I think when you ended it, when you tried to close it and close the conversation, you said it doesn't really matter because as a Nigerian, you can run for president as long as you're a citizen of Nigeria. Yeah. No, that is not in question. But because our politicians, of which he is one, have made identity politics a big part of our politics, and we're killing people, burning houses, burning people because of where they come from, what language they speak, or if they are good or not good enough, it becomes a problem. So if we are not talking about it in the context of who is a Nigerian and being confident about that, but then this is what we're doing. Okay, we will go to it in the breaking news you shared earlier around the APC candidates and his choice of a running mate and what that looks like in the identity politics of Nigeria. That's why it's an issue. Otherwise, it can be Igbo.
Dr. Abati is still right. You can be a Nigerian, but there are different categories of Nigerian citizenship. You are telling us how to acquire Nigerian citizenship. Before Nigeria acceded to national sovereignty in 1960, what the British did was to ask all foreigners living legally in Nigeria, asking them to choose between citizenship of Nigeria or citizenship of their own whole country. So, in this case, if you are a Cameroonian, you are a Nigerian, you now opt to be Nigerian. With effect from October 1, 1960, you so become a Nigerian. So that one is there. Now the issue of Nigerian citizenship by marriage, by acquisition, by conferment, by naturalization, all these are there to show the extent to which your privileges will be defined. A normal Nigerian, by the Constitution, is by the principle of jus sanguinis, that is blood descent. All right. If your foreparents all along are Nigerian and they have been there, it's taken for granted.
Yeah.
But if you now come, you reside, for whatever reason you now apply, you cannot say, you cannot claim originality because it's always there. And okay.
Prof, this is not a big issue. Chapter 3 of the Nigerian Constitution is very clear on issues of citizenship.
Yeah.
But part of the problem we have is that we politicize it.
Exactly.
And it's one of those chapters of the Constitution that those who are asking for constitution review, new constitution amendment are talking about. So I don't think we need to waste saliva.
No, if you naturalize, for instance, can you be president of Nigeria?
No, Prof. I don't think we need to waste time.
No, I'm only
if
talking
you are a citizen within the purview of the law. It's for the courts to determine. I'm not going to sit down here and usurp the functions of the courts of Nigeria.
And Senator Kwankwaso's cases doesn't apply.
No,
this is just
in fact, the bigger
ethnic
issues
groups,
I think he addressed have to do with restructuring, what he intends to do about the economy, what he will do about security, how he feels affected by the politics of the other political parties. Those are more important details. Whoever has any doubts,
Muslim.
Muslim ticket. Whoever has any doubts about the citizenship, the courts are there to interpret the law. It's not part of our job, sitting here, to interpret the law for their lordships. But talking about Muslim ticket, let's go back to that breaking news, because that became a major thing on this program today, when we reported that the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, has formally announced former Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima as his running mate. Tinubu disclosed this personally in Daura, Katsina State today, after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. The APC candidate had gone to Daura, where the president is observing his Salah break to reveal his running mate to the president. Before the announcement, Ibrahim Masari, Tinubu's placeholder running mate, had announced his resignation. Here we have the report.
We had a very good period of the season, this time of the year, and to really pay homage to him and then share part of his holiday and lunch, and equally discuss the question of my running mate, substantia. One of them withdraw today. I mean, the only one that was in place as a replacement withdraw today, and there'll be already an announcement to replace him fully with a substantive,
The substantive one.
Kashim Shettima. I've not discussed with him. I've disclosed it to you, since I've disclosed it to the president. Because we are a progressive party, we have the focus on Nigerian problems. We face the challenge squarely. We are not running away from it. We have a better program for the people and about the people, and ready to serve. Within a short period of time, there'll be a good foundation on infrastructure. We face challenges of terrorism, we know that. It's only, a poor thinker and observer will not recognize the challenge. But once you recognize the challenge, you can prepare yourself very well to tackle it and defeat it. And that is what our party is all about.
So, finally, why Kashim Shettima?
Because he competent, capable, reliable, and able.
Okay, Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje during the week had said that the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had agreed to pick a Muslim vice presidential candidate. Governor Ganduje disclosed this while making comments during a gathering of about 100 Islamic clerics at the Kano State Government House in preparation for the Eid al-Kabir celebration. He said, and I quote, "We have advised him to pick a Muslim deputy and he's agreed. A Muslim ticket is a reality. It is not something new in Nigeria," end quote, Ganduje said. He asked the clerics to pray for Tinubu to emerge as Nigeria's president in 2023, while also urging them to offer prayers for his administration's peace and progress. Meanwhile, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has picked Dati Baba Ahmed as his running mate. Dati Baba Ahmed was formally announced at a short ceremony in Abuja. Arise News correspondent Tunji Olanipekun filed this report.
Since Peter Obi joined the Labour Party, the party has become a movement of some sort and has been gaining acceptance across the country and beyond. With the deadline for the nomination of running mates closing in, who becomes the joint ticket holder with Obi has been a subject of discussion, but all that has been put to rest with the unveiling of Dati Baba Ahmed as Obi's running mate.
Okay, I mean, a lot of, interesting developments there in the political space. First, it was Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party picking Dr. Dati Baba Ahmed as his running mate. Dr. Dati Baba Ahmed is from the Northwest. Kaduna. From Kaduna. And that generated some interest with the attack lion, Dr. Dunyo Kukwe, first announcing and stepping down. And supporters of the group that is now known as the Obedient Movement, they've shown a lot of excitement. And then today on this program, we broke the news that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the standard bearer of the APC, or Progressives Congress, has now picked, as predicted previously and as indicated before now, a Muslim from the Northeast, Borno State, former Governor Kashim Shettima as his running mate. So Muslim ticket. That's likely to generate a lot of interest. But I've told people that, well, religion now may have become such a big issue. But once upon a time in this country, it wasn't so. When Basharim Abiola picked his running mate, he picked a Muslim. That's Baba Gana Kingibe, Muslim ticket. It worked at the time. In the Second Republic, it was Chief Obafemi Awolowo and a Muslim runner-up. Okay, I don't immediately remember his name. In that same Second Republic, it was Azikwe, right? And also a Christian. It was a Christian ticket, right? And then, of course, in the government that eventually won in the Second Republic, when, it was a Shagari government, the runner-up was a Christian, Ekweme. The speaker, the Senate president, was a Christian, Joseph Wayas. The speaker, Ume Ezeoke, was a Christian. So we have had a different situation in this country at a time. So why is it now a Muslim ticket is such a big problem?
The reasons cannot be far-fetched. That's why you are rightly wrong. You have given us case stories to justify that empirical cases existed in the past. But you didn't tell us the environmental conditions in the past. Yes. The environmental conditions have changed
Chief
completely.
Chief was running mate was Chief Philip Umuadi. Yeah.
Now,
Philip Umuadi.
you see,
Christian.
why Muslim ticket is a critical problem and a major pointer to a very serious divisive factors in the country. The mere fact that the Nigerian people are living with unconfirmed fears of Islamization of the country. People are complaining that, look, even if you take the Naira, they say, why is this language Arabic there? People say the 1999 Constitution, that the Constitution talks about Islam, Sharia, Muslim, many, many times, without mentioning the traditionalists, and the Christian religions. And they are saying, look, the Constitution, the same Constitution provides for secularity. So when people begin to nurse these fears that there is a Fulanization agenda, there is Islamization agenda, or what I normally refer to from time to time, that Muammar Gaddafi said there will not be peace in Nigeria until you have divided Nigeria into Muslim North and Christian South. So religion becomes a critical issue. So rather than create situations that will amplify, that will create further division, I don't think that myopia should be allowed to reign. There are many, many, many Christians in up north that Tinubu can look for. So Muslim will only create greater division, animosity, and I think it is not necessary at that particular level.
Okay, Professor David Awurawo, are you back with us so that you can make your own input into this idea of a Muslim running ticket on the platform of the APC? Do you think it will go the same way it went in the 1993 process, and that religion should not be something we lose saliva over?
Well, thank you very much. It won't be exactly as it played out in 1993. And the reason is simple. As Professor Kinteriwa has said, the environment has changed, dramatically since then. A whole lot has changed, and the environment now makes it more complicated. There is beauty in inclusion. People have said that just look for competence. Don't bother about religion, where the people come from, and all that. I don't accept that. There is beauty in inclusion. The same way as we advocate that the government must have a large number of women, occupying important places, a large number of youths. So too, the government should take people from across the country, and religion also must be considered. Evidence has shown that when you have people representing a particular group in the decision-making process, the decisions arrived at are usually more robust. You can understand the people as well as when one of them, is speaking for them, and decisions are made, on that basis. So I do not think that the Muslim ticket is a wise decision, although from the political point of view, yes, it will fetch a whole lot of votes. But just look at it. If the vote were to be on the other foot, Christian ticket, will it have been accepted, enthusiastically from across the country? Certainly not. The same point you are making will be made if it had been Christian ticket. So the examples you cited about Awolowo and the rest of them in the Second Republic, the environment has changed dramatically since then. The choice will fetch, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, a whole lot of votes. But from the point of view of politics, governance, and the rest of them, I do not think it's the right thing to do, especially at this material time in Nigeria's history. One can also tie that to the comments made by, what we are discussing, identity politics, spoken about by Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Inclusion, there's beauty in inclusion. And when you say Muslim, and all the Christians in the North, is it that no competent Christian could be found in the North? The issue is just political. And I don't think it will sit down well with a large section of the Nigerian society, especially the Christian community.
Okay, very good. But the point I was making, the historical point I was making earlier, was that in the Second Republic, Chief Awolowo took as his running mate Chief Philip Umeade, a Christian. In that same Second Republic, Dr. Nnamdi Azikwe took as his running mate Dr. Ishaya Audu, a Christian from Kaduna State, and it was not an issue. When Shagari formed his government, the dominant persons were Christians, and he was a Muslim. It wasn't an issue. Even under the Gowon administration, even under the Buhari administration in his first coming as a military general, as head of state, the key persons were Fulanis and Northerners. Idiagbon, all those people, they were from one stock. Nobody complained. So, but the point is, Nigeria has changed, as you said. Yemi, why has it changed so badly that religion is not an issue? Nobody talks about competence. Anybody that has 100 million now can become president of Nigeria, even if the money is from, unholy sources. If I want sheikh, I have to say, this Barukade salad that we are doing, nobody should eat any ram that was bought with stolen money. How do we know? I've eaten plenty of
from different sources.
I don't know whether I've eaten holy meat. That's the country you have.
But I would say it's now an issue for the same reason that ethnic politics is amplified. Because we've made it so, we've politicized it. Now, Nigeria is number 7. There's an organization called Open Doors that tracks Christians that are persecuted, i.e. Christians who have a challenge in expressing their faith around the world. Nigeria is number 7 on the top list of 50. That says a lot. And a lot of Nigerians are not aware, because in southern Nigeria, where you have most Christians, so this whole North Muslim and South Christian is a debatable, maybe when Gaddafi said it, you could say that confidently, but now it's quite debatable. But Nigeria is number 7th on the Open Doors list for 2022 because of northern Nigeria, not because of Nigeria as a whole. So we have that as an issue. And we have stories from Kaduna to the Middle Belt of Christians who are being attacked. Not to say that Muslims are not being attacked, but Christians feel particularly under threat and attacked. You have that. You have the fact that in the north, as the governor of Bauchi has said, that our borders are porous. So for the simple fact that you're Fulani and you were cut away from your family, you can there's free entry into Nigeria in the northern part of the country. So what the APC is simply doing is making a decision on the politics of numbers. They want to win elections, and they want to ensure that they have a broad acceptance, if I want to use that word, for northern Nigeria. The balance of that is also that Asiwaju Tinubu is married to a Christian, and not a nominal Christian, someone who's very strong, and also very strong in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, one of the largest denominations of Christian faith in Nigeria. So I think in his mind, and he's referenced that in some of his interviews, that when he was governor of Lagos State, he did X, he did Y, to also show that my wife is a Christian, it's not a big deal to him, and hoping that that will pacify that community. Lastly, back to the issue of numbers. Who would care if it's a Muslim ticket? I would dare say it's not a Muslim-Christian ticket. In the Southwest, I would probably say that maybe our ethnicity would trump faith, because we have Muslims and Christians in families. Maybe people won't care as much. Southeast, South, maybe APC has ceded that to PDP, that they'll get some votes, but we're not trying to get, we know that we will be penalized in this area. So it's actually the Middle Belt, and how the Middle Belt votes and responds to this ticket that'll be interesting to see as we go to elections. I think what's also very interesting when we talk about also religion politics is that 2 dominant parties have Muslim top of ticket, and the sort of third force that's brewing has a Christian top of ticket. So it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. But I think we can't shy away from the fact that the decision was driven by a desire to win, and not necessarily paying attention to the challenges of a particular faith in Nigeria, given the attack on that faith. And they probably just believe they can work their way through it, either through talking to religious leaders or finding ways around it, but that it's more important that they have. And the choice of VP is also someone that's seen as a moderate Muslim. He's not, you won't describe him as sort of an extremist in one fashion or the other. So in that decision also moderated it by that choice.
Okay, on that note, let's take our final subject of the
Can I
day.
do something before we do final subject?
Yes.
This is actually critical. You mentioned it when you were talking about Abiola. There's also a school of thought that sees that Asiwaju sees this as a competition. That so he wants, and this is what I thought was very interesting because you mentioned Abiola, in a sense wants to beat Abiola using the same ticket. So do Muslim, win as president of Nigeria, get sworn in as president of Nigeria, and he'll have a one-up over Abiola.
Well, I mean, a lot of...
I just said theory. I shared it.
A lot of conspiracy theories. There will be many more as we move towards 2023. But what is important is that the interests of average Nigerians should be defended. We'll take very quickly our final story for this edition. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resigned as leader of the Tory party and blamed the herd instinct of Tory MPs for pushing him out of office after a series of cabinet ministers told him he had lost the support of the party. A gale of resignations, 59 in total, actually. In a statement outside Downing Street, Boris Johnson acknowledged that no one is remotely indispensable, and he accepted that it was the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that he should leave number 10. But he also signaled his intention to stay on as Prime Minister while the party picks his successor, potentially until autumn, triggering an immediate backlash among Tory MPs. The statement brings an end to an extraordinary standoff between Johnson and cabinet ministers, including his new Chancellor, Nadim Zahawi, who has been urging him to quit, amid anger over the Crispincha affair and other scandals. Well, very quickly, we have very limited time to deal with this. Boris Johnson, John Becker was saying in one interview that the man is a liar, he's the worst prime minister ever in the last 2 decades, who is noted for dissembling, for disemboweling, for not taking responsibility with all those scandals, Partygate, and also Crispincha. What do you think? Is it good riddance? Will you say so?
I'll cede my time to Prof, but I really just wanted to mention, I was talking about Shettima earlier, and it's very remiss of me not to remember the role he played when the Chibok girls were abducted. There are several allegations tying former Governor Shettima to Boko Haram in various things, from people who are arrested, mentioning his name as being part of their sponsors, and so we shouldn't lose sight of that as we talk about him as a potential president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria if Asiwaju wins and then he's unable to carry out his role for whatever reason. Okay. So I'll cede my time to you, Prof. Please go ahead.
Okay, Prof, we have just about 4 or 5 minutes to go. Are there lessons we can learn from the exit of Boris Johnson, impending exit, as it were?
Many lessons. One, power is transient. Basic. Yeah. Secondly, he too said, look, no one is indispensable when it comes to political governance. But in spite of the lies or the way he has been described as a blatant liar, irresponsible, he doesn't accept any responsibility, I think that he still, look, a prime minister to be reckoned with in history. He will be there, particularly for the taking out of Britain from the European Union. Brexit is a major achievement, and the British people are particularly important, happy to say that, look, they can now protect and advance their own culture. So I think he did that. And there is also the aspect of COVID-19 vaccines that he really promoted. So you see, the British wouldn't want to be seen as playing second fiddle in international politics. So they want originality. They don't want their pound sterling to be relegated to the euro and so on and so forth. I think for him, well, he left. He has created a room for successor. And if he wants to stay there until election of a successor, that is the tradition, basically. And he cannot just leave.
Okay, Prof is saying basically that Boris Johnson may have been disgraced out of office, but that his legacy is intact, and he has tried to defend what that legacy is. That's what you have done, basically.
I agree with you.
Prof, quickly, Professor Awurawo, do you agree with Professor Akintenewa that yes, whatever may have happened, Boris Johnson's legacy is in place, as some of his supporters have also argued.
Thank you very much. Yes, I agree entirely with Professor Akintenewa. Boris Johnson came at a very difficult time in the history of the United Kingdom. Recall that his predecessor had issues, trying to manage the aftermath of Brexit, and she wasn't quite, she had difficulties, she had challenges she couldn't manage. And Boris Johnson came in and tried to stabilize the situation, although there were a whole lot of other issues that were left unattended, that were still being, we were still trying to crack, the Northern Ireland issue and all that. But taken together, it was very effective as a leader. The problem Boris Johnson had, revolved around character flaws. Unfortunately, he couldn't manage those character flaws, which eventually led to his exit. In fact, he should have left long before he did. So we can say better late than never. But like Professor Akintenewa said, his legacies will continue. And, there are a whole lot of things for which, he will be, positively remembered as the British Prime Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Aworawo. We would have loved to talk about the situation in Japan, where former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated, and also Sri Lanka, where, aggrieved citizens have chased, more or less, president of the country out of power. We're told that he will officially resign on Wednesday. But that these are issues we keep focusing upon on this station, because these are issues of interest with lessons for other countries, particularly in the third world. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati. From our entire team here in Lagos, it's bye for now. And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week.